The Prime Secretary, Minister of Works, our boss, the President of CORIN, that's the engineering regulators, very important directors, deputy directors, and very dear friends of the ministry are dear contractors, the press. I decided to do this meeting with all the contractors handling our projects all over the nation and the directors that are supervising them, so that we can, before the public, clear a number of issues. There are a number of sponsored write-ups, all kind of stuff against the new policies of the Ministry of Works. I just read one yesterday when they say, if you do concrete road, cement will go to 9,000. And the people that were used to sponsor it are actually the Cement Traders Association, which is a very good one. There have been other branches. Both the staff and the contractors have been talking to all kinds of big men in the country. Some even I read where they said, I'm selecting some certificates of big men I'm paying. I want to say publicly that there is no iota of truth in any of such. I'm not delaying anybody's payment unduly. And so it is very important that I make, the policies of Federal Ministry of Works very, very clear. Number one is we put God first in whatever thing we are doing. And God here represents the people. The people. The people. And I received instruction also from Mr. President. This is my line of instructions. And then, of course, from the ministry, from big men, and so on and so forth. But these are the lines of my protocol in terms of who instructs me. Meaning that if there are decisions I take, God Almighty or Mr. President can cancel it. I am not on my own. I say this so that if you want to blackmail me or you want to report me, you should know the proper avenue to report me. Don't waste your time reporting me to any other persons other than God Almighty and Mr. President. But one thing is very clear. If I'm doing anything for my own benefit, whatever thing I'm doing will fail. But if I'm doing it for the benefit of the people, no matter the amount of blackmail, no matter the amount of fight, the will of God will always prevail. I traveled to Southwest. I'm not totally unhappy with the ongoing projects there and the supervision. I gave them 80% pass mark, but not without my reservation about how long these projects will last. But at least the ministry people, the director that are doing their work, I'm happy about that. I've been to part of North Central, very dissatisfied with the quality of work, very dissatisfied with the supervision offered by the Ministry of Works. Then I went to Kaduna and I disagreed with the design of Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano road. I disagree with the design. It's an overkill, but I'm doing nothing about it. All I said is I want to do from kilometer 0 to 38 with concrete because it's on a groundwater level base. And so I want to see if I can do that. If the contractor encourages me, it will happen. If they don't encourage me, they are very mighty people. Maybe they may have their way. But I must always have my say to say these projects, give it 3-4 years, they will fail. It's just for me to have my say. A lot of you are mighty people that will always have their ways, but it won't stop me from having my say. That there is no project being constructed right now in Nigeria that is going to last for 7 years. There's no. And the question is, are we just going to be maintaining or reconstructing our roads after even 10 years? Is that what this country is going to be doing? And that is actually what you have been doing. Between local Abuja to Benin, through Lokoja, all the stretch of the roads are on contract, ongoing. Beautiful policy of the last administration. But how much of the roads are motorable? I traveled through that by myself and I shedded tears for the kind of pains our people are passing through. I stayed there for 14 hours. 14 hours. I started 10 a.m. I got to Benin 2 a.m. the next day. And I was very happy I experienced the pains. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, I must travel through all the projects so that when I brief him, I will tell him the truth. And that is exactly what I am doing. He has seen some of the failed projects and he is feeling so sad. President wants to give smiles, a renewed hope to Nigerians. He's very determined to do it. He's a divine president. God is on his side. Those who think that distracting him are wasting their time. And it is high time Nigerians should recognize somebody God sent to help them. This is one president that if we fail to support him, it becomes the last hope for this country. I've seen him, his antecedents, I've watched him, I've seen his commitment. No minister puts off the number of hours Mr. President puts on every day. I know it's a very difficult thing to, change our habits. But the funny thing is that the Nigerian people, they do not call the Ministry of Works. They do not call the civil servants. They do not call the contractors. They call the governors. They call the ministers. They call the president. If president gives out a contract and pays money and asks the ministry to supervise and they fail to do that, if the projects are jacked up beyond the funding capacity of the federal government, whom are we going to blame? I watched today the TCU's chairman and the channel, and they alluded, the fact that I said I'm not happy with the supervision of our works by the Minister of Work Staffs. And he said it's the government. If a civil servant is on the way of the progress of government, he should be shown the way out. And of course, it's my policy. It's my policy. And I will plead with the press to report exactly what I'm saying. Because in Lagos, we were discussing about, Abuja to Lagos Superhighway. And we are at the concessioning level. What I saw is that, advanced engineering company has been awarded the contract. What kind of, praise is that? The same thing with the Lagos Port Harcourt Calabar Superhighway, that we are just at the third meeting. And you say it's been awarded to, high-tech engineering. This is not doing good to our country. The press is not being fair to our country. Because you have to report exactly what it is. There is so much havoc being done to this country by social media, false information, sensational, reportage. God forbid if the country collapses, everybody will be involved. So you're a policeman pulling the string somewhere so that the country will go down, and they pulling, this one is pulling. It is not helping our country. Look at US. It is their country first. In our contracts, we have provision to maintain the roads. Why would the civil servants, the leaders of Ministry of Works, not compel the contractors to maintain the roads? People are suffering. I had to go through the many communities to be able to reach Benin. Our expatriate contractors, this cannot happen in any of your countries. It cannot. Anywhere there is maintenance of job or road is going on, the first thing that is done is the convenience of the people. We are being taken for a ride. We are being taken for granted. You believe you are doing us favor. You are not doing us favor. This is business. And this attitude must stop. Whether you like me, you hate me, it's not my business. The attitude must stop. We must be respected. We must be respected. I've directed that if you're a project manager on any of our contracts, whether you're expatriate or you're a Nigerian or Togolese or African, you must be registered with CORE and not less than 15 years experience on road construction. And I'm warning the directors, regional directors, not to fail to carry out this instruction. In every project during bidding, the contractor will submit the list of equipment he has. He will submit his financial status. He will submit the list of jobs done before. He will submit the technical, bid on the qualification of his personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, go and find out. If you did that, the bid, and check what is on site, find out whether you can get 10% of that. Find out. And so whom are we to blame? The directors and civil servants. How many contractors are using sheep foot rollers to do the compaction or subgrade? How many equipment are on site of these contractors? One contractor has 27 projects. How will he do it? How will he do it and do it well? I'm not against anybody, but the present cost of the project, you are hiding under VOP with the ministry, and you believe that anybody is a fool. Nobody is a fool. There is no job that has a funding right now because you are hiding under VOP. You don't want to expose the real cost of the project now. And when you expose it, there is nobody even with the initial unit rate of asphalt plus the VOP that is going to continue with that present situation. Nobody. There's nobody. That is the reality. If the BPP says, you cannot increase your contract, he's telling lies. You can't tie a man hands and legs and ask him to run. If the NMPC say the contract is fixed, that nobody, it's a lie. That is not the truth. You have to give what belongs to the contractors to them. And then you now tax them to abide by the tenets of the project, of the contract, of the agreement, of the general specification of contract and general conditions of contract. Documents will be sent to BPP for no objection. It will stay for 6 months. How will the contractors go to do additional job you directed them to do without a backup authorization? And I've asked the BPP, you set up in each MDA, your own department. Why will that department vet what the main MDA has done and send to you, and you sit on it for 6 months? Unless Mr. President does something about the bureaucracy, his lofty intention to help this country may not totally be achieved. Engineering requires attention. If a contractor writes for certain, advice or seeks certain permission, he must have it within 24 hours. He has equipment on site. He has personnel he's paying for. But we keep their files. But we forgot something. Whatever thing a man soweth, he will reap. We are ministers, we are directors. It is not forever. You will still come out and experience what the contractors experience. And at that point, you begin to reap. If you have sown good, you reap good. If you have sown wickedness, it will not escape. There are certificates before me, there are memos to go to Federal Executive Council, there are argumentations. I am not signing. I'm saying it before the press. I am not signing. If you want me to sign, you do what I've directed to be done. And it's because the directors have refused to tell you the truth. That's why I've called you to tell you the truth. If your project was 30 billion and it became 120 billion, I want to know how. But if there is somebody else who can continue signing on that project and we finish it, I'm not interested. I'm not probing you. But if as a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and if certificates are interims, and if certificates are cumulative, it means that the moment I sign, I've owned it. And if I have to own it, I'll be able to explain to Mr. President why a project of 30 billion came to 120 billion. I should be able to explain. And it's my right, no matter how much you blackmail me. It's my right to know. And how will I know? You will do a takeoff sheet from the first principle. From the first principle. If you don't know, go and ask quantity surveyors. You will do a takeoff sheet. And during your claims on VOP, you gave us the market prices. Then during your claims, you gave us supply prices. I will not take it. I won't take it. The VOP is going to be based on the market price and it's going to be based on the market price. It's not market price and then supply price. Because how do I have a baseline? Somebody will say that he's supplying rods for 900,000. Another person will say it's 1,100. Where is the templates upon which I will vet? So please, if you want to do your VOP so that your papers can go on very well, it is the basic prices of items that are allowable in the VOP at the time of this, and then the basic prices at the time of claims. And we are not bound by your receipts. We will make calls. We will check our journals. That is what we use. And so I am asking all contractors to go back and do their takeoff sheets, their sketches, their calculations, their site instructions, and then bring forward the status to their directors. The moment I'm clear, I will approve. If I'm not clear, I will call you and the directors. I will sit and I will say where I do not agree. So this is very clear. So if you have completed your job 100%, I'm bound to pay you. I don't need it. But if I'm going to do any approval of the ongoing jobs, this must be done. If you do it today, even tomorrow public holiday, I'm working. If you do it, you bring it. Now, very important to do. is that you have unit trace of your original contract. You've done VOP, every year. Now, I want you to build back the new unit rate based on the VOP claims. How do you build it back? If I'm building VOP and I saw certain VOP, you do VOP on diesel. No, sir. You have to give us the diesel consumption in asphalt, diesel consumption on earthwork. And if there is another distance, you tell us. You are the one, because we want to build back the VOP is exhaustible. If it's exhausted and prices are still rising, how do you make claims? So where do we put that VOP on diesel? Diesel, you are using it for your trucks. You are using it for your asphalt. You are using it for your concrete. So where do we put that VOP claims of AGO? Which of the items do we put it? And so those who vetted your VOP should go back to classrooms. Because when the VOP item is exceeded, how do you now review the contract? And that's where we are now. We are at the stage that the VOP's provisions have been exceeded and prices are going up. The price of asphalt from the day I was sworn into today is no longer the same. And the next 1 month, it will not be the same. So far, the dollar is rising. So far, the international petroleum product is rising. The asphalt will continue to rise, meaning that we have no contracts. We just have contract we put on a spring. So the contract is dancing like this, and you are very happy about it. But it's danger for the country. The president cannot say, this is how much I will use to finish this road. And you all know it. You know it better than me. And so I want us to do 3 things. One is to build your VOP, disaggregate your claims of diesel, and of course it will not occur in 1 year. Disaggregate them as per the project items, and then build the new unit rate. If the total contract sum is 100 naira, let me now know that X times Y in all the items put together is 100 million. In that case, you will see the new unit rate of, for example, asphalt. If your unit rate before was 6,000 and your VOP has brought it up to 11,000, which of the contractors can honestly do 60 millimeter binder at 11,000 per square meter? Nobody can do that. Nobody. My job is to speak the truth. Nobody fights for God. God must fight for himself. And so I speak the truth. And God will bring the money. I will not cheat the contractors, but the contractors will no longer cheat us. There is no binder 60 millimeter that will cost less than between 20 and 22 now. There's no wearing cost that will cost less than between 18 and 20. If the civil servants will really check the thicknesses and the mixture in the distance. The mixture says that bitumen is between 5 and 8% of the material, tonnage in the distance. Who is there to know that you put between 5 and 8? If you put 5, it will not work. If you put 8, it will be bleeding. So what do? Trial text. The bitumen are adulterated, and you say you are putting bitumen modifier, beautifier, codifier. Is it the same thing with overseas? Do they put modifier, codifier, and all these things in their own? The answer is no. The answer is no. We have been brainwashed. We have the best quality bitumen deposit in Ondo running to Ogun State. Let the importers of bitumen develop it. So that is about augmentation. And then, of course, the increment in a project scope. Let me tell you, I've said that to you, but you can go back to your contracts. Article 2 gave us the powers to scope down the project, either down or up. General conditions of contract, clause 51, which is part of Article 2 of the, the elements of documents constituting the contract, gave us the powers to change the scope, the quality, the quantity of your contracts. So when people say they will go to court, I say read these two sections before going to court. We could even say, oh, you are doing 100 kilometers, please stop at 2 kilometers. It's there. But we've not said so. And that brings me to the introduction of concrete roads. Unless Mr. President directs, I will not sign any new project without the design being on concrete. That's new projects. For the ongoing projects, however, I was in Benin. From Benin to Warri, it was war. They no longer call this thing pothole, they call it boreholes. Boreholes. You see where trailers are parked 5 kilometers on the road. You see trailers falling down. You see people being kidnapped. You know, the faith I profess in one section of the Bible says that the anger of God rises above the people that do A, B, C, D. He said not only those that do them, including those that take pleasure in those that do them. So who are the people involved? The contractors, the owners of the jobs, the big men behind the jobs, the civil servants that are, approving the jobs. The truth is so bitter. But we will hear the truth and we set us free. To set us free. It's a time for our hopes to be renewed. It's a time to adopt professionalism in our jobs. The construction method in Nigeria is zero. The current boss is here. In the new lanes you are developing, you clear the ground, you bring good laterite, you put on it, you use flat roller, you roll it, you continue until you get to the height of the distance. You put your sub base, you roll with flat roller, you put your base course, you roll with your flat roller. Then, you can do all this thing within 1 month. Why will the road not fail? Whether it's concrete or asphalt. But this is what is going on. How many contractors have sheet foot rollers? The flat rollers are used to even the levels. They are used to even the levels, and that is only at the base course. It does no compaction. There is what is called the dispersal distribution of load. As the load, it goes with a triangle. At a certain depth, the load has no more effect on the lower layers. It's the same thing with the flat roller. It just may be compacting 15 cm. You say, but we are compacting in layers. That is not what we have directed you to do. You use the sheet foot rollers. When you pound it, when it starts stamping, then the compaction has been attained. We are using dust base and we say stone base. It is not stone base, it's dust base. Some contract unit rate for this dust base 54,000. It is terrible. And from the biggest contractor in this country to the lowest, they are using dust base. We have to change our stone base to become stone base and not dust base. And I'm issuing warnings to the directors. When you come to an existing road, you have no milling machine. You take away the beautiful, ingredients of the road, which is the felled asphalt. The felled asphalt still has some bitumen in it, which when properly mixed, it becomes, a sealant against water. You remove it, you take it to your distance. You say you are mixing it with chemical, you are disturbing the already fully compacted subgrade. I have directed that you mill the asphalt, you leave it there, you pulverize it with the existing one, expose it to traffic for 30 days. Put the stone base, expose it to traffic for 30 days. Where there are no traffic to borrow, let your construction equipment be going there working, and let the sheet foot roller be there. 60 days we test, 30 days we test the subgrade, 60 days we test the base course before you start to put your pavement. I beg you in the name of God. There is no need, unless when directed, existing road, you remove the distance, you start loading it with distance. You stand, unless it's a floodplain. Even the floodplain between Warri and Port Harcourt, you saw it. You did not raise the roads. They are all washed off, 9 points. We have to now create relief covers or use the compile to treat it. Billions of naira now. The whole route from Warri to Port Harcourt, they are totally failed. Totally failed. And in 30 days, nobody will travel between these locations. The first sections is being completed since, but it has failed. And contractors will say, well, this is the design. Most of the designs were offered by you. In a normal engineering practice, one of the conditions that is offered before the award is that you have visited the site. You've acquainted yourself with the conditions of the site. Even in bidding documents, you are given the opportunity to make suggestions. This is engineering. You are a big contractor and you took up a design and you could not ask for the history, the environmental impact assessment of that location, to know that the design is on a floodplain. Then why are you different from me, local contractor? Between Port Harcourt and Akwa Ibom, there are about 4 locations that the road is also built on floodplain. Big contractors are doing it. What is happening? We are putting the compile for something we would have just used a retaining wall to raise the road and then put get out of that place and put sharp sand and concrete it. We are spending. We are spending. So, I'm wondering whether the expatriate firms that we are used to are still in this country. I am wondering. I need to tell you the truth. I'm not a daft. My life has been developed along construction and engineering line. One guy says, you speak the truth, you die. You lie, you die. So he will speak the truth and die, but me, I'll speak the truth and live. There is no security threat. I've not gotten warning and all that stuff. But people will be paying with their lives if they get funny. Because what you give is what you take. I'm on a mission sent by Asiwaju and God Almighty. And there is nothing anybody can do about it. You are fighting God by killing people. It's blood of people we are drinking. And I will not partake in it. These are the sins against God that affect the children, affect the generations, affect the health of the people. When we intentionally suffer the people. Now I've directed that all roads, if you went and they did everything you did and 210 kilometers of road, you must maintain the 110 kilometers throughout the life of the project. You must maintain it. I don't want to hear the money is finished. The money cannot finish. You must maintain it. We have B1, a project that I perform 5%, you gave out the whole B1 to civil servant. If it comes, I will only allow B1 according to the progress of the work. That's what I will do. So you go and recover your money from civil servants. Yes, you recover the money from them. And do not release B1 to civil servants again. If they want, they should apply to the permanent secretary. The permanent secretary will give approval for B1 to be spent. What are they spending it on? When they cannot supervise the project and compel contractors to, commit to the professional ethics of engineering. Any contractors that defies these new policies, we will stop the work. You don't know it more than us. We all went to engineering school. It is una paper una sent to us to read. Now we read. Now the same one you read. So we are on the same page. Nobody should deceive anybody. There's nothing like big contractor or small contractor. It's the people that make the company. So nobody should feel inferior or superior in this business. After all, you trained us. Did you train us not to be like you? Or better? So let us discuss engineering. Don't discuss history with me. It's engineering. And so, these are the policies. And I've said most of the projects must be redesigned on concrete. Must. If you think that you are going to use price to frighten me, I've done calculation for the cost of. Yes. If it is strong seal road, this is how much it is. I don't expect concrete paver on trunk C road. If it's trunk B road, some of them that doesn't have this, you can use your mixer to cast it. Now trunk A road, we are using reinforcement. And there is no way you can import a paver in less than 6 months. So we give you 6 months. What are you going to be doing now in 6 months? Is to adapt the real construction method, and that by preparing your subgrade, your subbase, and your base course, and allow them for traffic. 2 months, you don't go home. So to say. Now, if 2 months, have gone and you are ready to cast and the equipment is not there, what about the shoulders? You are not casting the shoulders with paver. So you can use your mixers to cast the shoulders. 2.75, 2.75 as the case may be, or 1.5 and 2.75 for dualized road, or 1 meter against 2.75 for dualized road as the case may be of the design. You can do that. And then when the paver comes, you just put 7.3 on a very well regulated and compacted carriage pavement. You go. Don't use cost to frighten me. Concrete pavement in our reinforcement, we all know how much it is. Reinforcement is about 600,000, 550 to 600 in the market. Chippings vary from location to location. Sand vary from location to location. Labor, maybe slight variation. Your overhead, procurement has already penciled it down at 30%. If you are using calibrated you are using calibrated batching plant, there is a cost for it. If you are using paper, there is a cost for it. If you are using locally made batching plant where you use mobile mixers, there is a price for it. And our directors know all these things. If they are not giving you, come to me, I'll give you. So that if you are building your rate and you want to use it to frighten me, then there is a fight. Because you have to tell me that I did not read engineering before I will agree to your price. But I am here to make you happy. And I'm happy, that Mr. President is committed to this road revolution. That is good news for you. That is good news for you. The reasons why projects are not completed is that you start a project of 30 billion, you jack it to 120 billion. What the federal government is counting is 30 billion. That is the appropriation. The appropriation that is 2 billion, 1 billion, 500 million in a year. But your project is, 100 billion. Are we honest here? It means you are just sharing the money with the owners. We are not being honest. I've also, hinted that I intend to talk to National Assembly. If they want us to continue with the ongoing projects, we continue. But if they are going to bring, new projects, some projects 50 million, 30 million, 250 million, and these are projects that will cost not less than 30 billion. Then we have to sit down and agree so that we stop the ongoing projects and we face the new ones, this 30 billion, 20 billion. I've looked at 2003, appropriation for Ministry of Works, and I shedded tears. There's nothing we can do with it. 50 million, 30 million, 500 million. The billion items are not more than 5. I know they must do something for their constituencies. But we can put these things in FEMA and then allow real projects in the Ministry of Works to go on. That's what we can do. But they must also give us money, what I call seed money, emergency money. As we talk now, 9 locations in East-West Road are being threatened. 3 bridges, though in old jobs, have collapsed there. Yesterday, 2 bridges in Enugu collapsed. Go to Enugu now, the whole town is locked up. You go to Onitsha, this thing, we inspected 1 when we were there. But today, 2 have collapsed. It is happening all over. In Lokoja there, the same thing. A stretch of 1 kilometer, nobody can pass there. And that's where South people, Southeast people, and even Dangote Cement, that's where they pass to Abuja. We are helpless. We have problem with 10 mainland bridge in terms of resurfacing the top and remedial works underwater. No money to do it. All the motions of the National Assembly for interventions, they are there. But there is no money to do it. We have 260 projects costing 217 billion that needs immediate attention through the states, but there's no money. We will also be begging the National Assembly to return about 530 something billion, which the appropriation of 2022, on the ongoing projects. And of course, they had to give it to Mr. President for palliatives, which is very important because the lives of the people first. Very ingenious of Mr. President. But after they have eaten, they have to move. And so, since the palliative is going on, and do not buy the bullshit that the palliatives are not going on, the governors are doing fantastically well. Labor should be reasonable and go to the governors and find out. Yes, I support that their salary should be increased. But you have to understand that this is our country. A country we inherited where 90% of the earnings of government is being used to pay debt. Should we not, as committed people of this country, work together with Mr. President to find solution to a situation we have found ourselves. You say you are going on strike. I hope that Ministry of Works, if there is any strike, should not try to go on strike, because you have caused pains to the people of Nigeria. You have to stay with me for us to solve the problem. Because if you go on strike, I will make some of you to be arrested. We go on strike when we have solved the mess we created by not supervising the projects, by jacking up the projects that are reasonably jacked up. So there's so much motion and there's no movement. And then you will call president, you will call governors, you will call. Whom are they calling between Lokoja and Benin? Has anybody called the ministry, the civil servants, or those supervising it? I went through 3.5 regions. I didn't see our ministry staff. It's only in Southwest that I saw the controllers being in charge of their projects, and the controller and the director. Civil servants don't come to work. The big men, they come anytime they want. I had meeting yesterday, manager did. Many of them did not come. No excuse. They will get queried. They will get queried. If God and you people allow me to stay one year, I would have brought discipline in this thing. Because I know I'm very seriously in for a fight. You're fighting with your staff, you're fighting with the contractors and the big men behind them. But I've, activated prayer warriors, both Muslims and Christians. So as you are fighting me, they are fighting you too. Until we all come to the same page, the renewed hope agenda of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, divine president of Nigeria. And so that's all I have for you, believing that we, of course, I have said that the supervisors of this thing, our projects, are going to be consultants. We get consultants to supervise our projects and we pay them from day one. And so, with this, if I have offended you, I offer my unalloyed apologies. Unreserved apologies. But we have to work together. Whatever help you need. Let me also finally assure contractors, nobody is going to mark your scripts. There's no contractor in mark his script that can do the work. There are a lot of unforeseen. In the course of looking at your papers, we must show mercy. We must turn blind eyes, to certain things that will not injure government or the people. So be assured, I've been a contractor, I've been a consultant, I've been administrator, I'm here with you. Whatever thing you want to call me, but don't call me that my presence. It will be when you at my back. And we could still come back to use the same equipment to put 2-inch surface, like putting chandelier on the surface of the road. And so we still do that. So it's their equipment that they have had it without even engaging it. Now we engage them. And again, they have made so much money. These people have made so much money in Nigeria, because some of them are on the road project for 20 years, 17 years. So it's like annual budget for them, So, it is within our rights to change the scope and to change the quality. That is it. So there is no legal battle about it. If you're not going to change to this thing, you come, we do an addendum to your project, whereby you will guarantee us the life share of the project from a reputable bank. We are not saying you must change. So if you are not going to change, we have to do an addendum. It's our right to request for addendum, to the project. And again, in the northern part of this country where there's stability, very good stability. If the contractors will, indemnify us that the cost of the project will no longer increase, even if the dollar goes to, God forbid, or the oil market, that if we agree that this is it today, they will finish their project on it. It's an addendum. We will sign it. All we say is that we have outlawed the use of, surface dressing on the shoulders. The ministry will never do surface dressing on any of our works any longer. You all know, and you've been doing it, that before you finish, the shoulders are all washed off. So, in that base, we could use concrete with PRC mesh to treat our shoulders and then allow asphalt to go ahead, provided we can have a contract that we can predict. So this is very important. But in the southern part of Nigeria, it's better I don't do the job than that I do it on asphalt that I know will fail. Some of you contractors are very smart. You put macadam, you put soil stabilization, you put 3 plies of binder, then you put wearing course. You come back and complain. The road is overloaded. That's why it has failed. Which kind of brainwashing is that? Okay, let us do what high tech and Dangote is doing at Papa Ushodi, or they are doing in Lekki Deep Sea Port. Let us see whether it will fail. Let us do what Ebonyi State government did in building their 200 kilometer of ring road, in building 3,000 kilometer of roads. Some of them are federal roads. Let's do that and see whether it will fail. So, Mustafa, if I have to start jailing people, I will have to jail you too. Because they say EFCC, this slogan say, if you see something, say something. No be so? You have been seeing something, but they will give you money. You will hide them. So the jail starts with you. We develop the costing and the design, and I gave it to the directors. And let me offer warning to directors: if you delay my directive again, I'll remove you. I'll remove you. You can take my name anywhere. I directed them to discuss with all the contractors under them, so that the cost of, constructing, trunk C road is different from trunk, B and A. And again, the contractors are also classified. The overhead of Jilobeja is not the same thing with your overhead. So we must be very realistic about this. And we did meetings upon meetings upon meetings. So I expect them to. So they are doing this thing to make sure that this thing fails, but it will not fail. Because I'm looking at them, they are looking at me. I will not approve anything. So I have offered you what to do. Okay, trunk A road, we are using Y20 at 200. I can even tell you the design here. At 200, and then by the shoulders we use Y12 at 200, the shoulders. And we are using Y12 at the transverse sections, at 1,000 to hold it, And I saw what high tech is doing. They are putting MC1 on the stone base, so we can put MC1, that. So that is the design. If it's trunk B, trunk C route, we use BRC, to do it, and it's all is grade 30. And if it's trunk B route, then we lower the, and it's continuous casting, no expansion joint. And if it's trunk B route, we use Y16 at the carriageway, and then Y12 at distance. What else do you need? I've allowed you to maintain your base cost till down. I'm not tampering with it. So there's nothing big in it for you to do. So I'm only changing the pavement, design. I'm not changing the levels. I'm not changing the sub-base, the base cost, the subgrade. I'm not touching them. So there's nothing big about it to do. But before you come up with that, you must come up with the updated, cost of your job today, unit rate. And then, what is the updated unit rate? What is your new unit rate? Whether you've undergone VOP or not, we need to know. And so, if I'm making memo, I have to compare the asphalt with the concrete. And you'll be shocked, ladies and gentlemen, those who say that asphalt is cheaper than concrete, they will be shocked to see that concrete is far cheaper than asphalt. And they will see that in concrete roads, we are not going to be doing a lot of variation on price, because the cement could even come down. Yes, the reinforcement may go up if we don't produce enough. The sand may go up if the local labor becomes high. The chippings may go up because maybe the diesel is going up. But you cannot compare. The increase in this concrete work is on arithmetical progression. But that of asphalt is on geometric progression. It jumps, it's exponential. It jumps because the asphalt is dancing with, of course, the chipping is there too. Sand is there, dust is there. But if you compare the road and cement, then you compare the bitumen, okay, the bitumen, and you find out that bitumen is affected by the dollar. If there's scarcity, you can't even import. Bitumen is affected by the dynamic and volatile international oil market. So these are the issues. Now, to answer your first question, we're all corporates. You go and lobby us to jack up your project. So you know the appropriation. You jack it up. You've not drunk tea. You are now asking for VAT. And so it's all motions, but there is no movement. But let's hear that say no more. But start doing things with his hands so that I can have and give to those who need. The public, they need it. So let's do things together so that we can give to the public. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And